Hello everyone, today I will show you how to add your own gun to Modular Warfare. I will not be covering how to change the animations, how to change the holding position and how to change the attributes, because it's fairly simple, it's just changing up the numbers. And I will also be assuming that you already have a model done. Mine is right here, and it can be anything. Mine is just a Star Wars blaster. As long as it can be exported as OBJ, because that is what the Modular Warfare mod uses. If you cannot export as OBJ from Blockbench, that means your model is probably in the wrong format. It's a very simple fix. You just press convert project and select generic model, like mine is right here. I'm not gonna do that because I can't. And so we're gonna start off by exporting our model. Export OBJ, desktop, and I'm gonna have it right here. I don't need the MTL file, you don't either, so you can delete it right here. And we're gonna have to open it in Blender. So we're gonna open Blender. Okay, don't need the starter cube. I'm gonna import it. Desktop DC15. Okay, so it's gonna be quite small for now, but that's no issue. The first thing that you need to do is combine the cubes into parts. On the wiki there is a list of all the parts that you can have, the allowed parts. The first one is gun model. Of course, it's the body of the gun that doesn't move. It's nothing special. Each gun should have it. The slide model is for pistols. It's the slide, of course. Ammo model is the magazine or the bullets in a revolver or a sniper. Flash model is something we're gonna talk about in a second. I'm gonna skip it for now. The default models are parts that render when there is no attachment. So for example, if you want to have an AUG carbine with a scope, a default scope, then you would. So for example, if you want to have a VSS or an AUG gun with a default scope, but you can still mount a different one, then you would name the default scope model. The same goes for the barrel models, the stock model, grip and gadgets. The bolt model is for snipers, it's the bolt of course. Pump model and charge model, it's for the pump action shotgun and charging handles on like maybe a G3 or an MP5. And the trigger model is of course the trigger which you pull with your finger. So I'm gonna select all my cubes right here except for the trigger. Okay, like this. And before I merge it, I need to have one active mesh enabled, which is the orange outline, the slightly more yellowish, I guess. Once I do, I can press Ctrl plus J, and it merges it all into one part. I'm gonna name it my gun model, and I'm gonna drop down the list and name the cube itself that as well. And the remaining parts are gonna be my trigger model. Name the cube as well. And once we have that, we can position the gun in the specified way. To do that, I'm gonna open my Minecraft directory, go into Modular Warfare, and I'm gonna open the prototype content pack. Now I'm gonna minimize this, and as you can see, this is the pack that gets auto-installed every time you launch the game with the mod. I'm gonna go into OBJ because that's where the models are. And I'm gonna go into guns. Thinking about it, my blaster should be roughly the size of an MP5, so I'm gonna steal that. Where's the MP5? There it is. I'm gonna go into Blender and I'm gonna import it to my open window. So this is the MP5 from the mod. As you can see, it's way larger than my blaster. So I'm just gonna resize my model to be roughly the same size. Oh, that's how you select. Now, it is important that you line up your rear sight, or whichever will be your so-called pivot point, with the 0, point on Blender. So that would be the cross-section of those two little lines. I don't need the MP5 anymore, so I'm just going to delete it. Default scope model. The flash model stays for now. I don't need this and this. Okay, that leaves only my parts. Is that alright? Let me see. It's roughly in the same spot. Alright, so as you can see, we have the flash model here. This is gonna be the muzzle flash that's gonna pop up every time you fire. You need this, so don't remove it. I'm just gonna make it a bit smaller, like maybe half the size. And from this point, I'm gonna position it at my barrel. Looks good? Yeah, I think it's decent. Actually, I'm gonna move it slightly so it doesn't overlap with the stock, the foldable stock. And this is how you position the gun. So now you can export it. Wait, is everything named accordingly? Yeah, seems like it is. Alright, so I'm gonna export it as OBJ again. I'm gonna overwrite the previous file, DC15, export, and I'm not gonna save. So at this point I kind of have a mess right here on my desktop, so I'm gonna delete the MTL file and the MP5 OBJ file. I'm gonna open my directory again, and I need a pack to implement it to. So it's as simple as creating a folder. I already have mine created, it's Star Wars, and you need the following folders. I recommend creating all of them because they will get auto-generated anyway. I'm gonna drop mine into OBJ, guns, and this is where you drop your gun. The naming is pretty important because technically you can name it whatever you want, but it is recommended to give it a namespace, which is the Star Wars prefix, just so it doesn't get mixed up with any other guns from a different content pack. So mine will be Star Wars .dc15. Once you have that, now you need to code it in, but of course no coding is required, so we're gonna go into guns, and this is where we have our gun JSON files. So we're gonna need to steal one from the prototype pack. Shut up. Go into guns, and as you can see, here are the default JSON files. Let's go into my pack again, and yeah, let's say I want the MP5. Gonna rename it to the same thing, Star Wars DC15. Was that the name? Star Wars DC15. Yep, that was the name. So we're gonna open it when oh, wrong file. We're gonna open it in Notepad or whatever. Doesn't really matter. And you're gonna change up all the names. So Star Wars DC15. Oh, 15. This is the display name that's gonna show up in your hand. I'm gonna name it DC15S Blaster Carbine. You're not gonna change any of these for now. The sounds stay the same, of course, and this is also important, the model skins. You're gonna find the default one, which is this one, and you're gonna change it to whatever that previous name was. So Star Wars DC15. Skin asset, the same, Star Wars DC15, and you can leave the default as default. Save it, close it, and now we need the texture. So you go to the main folder, assets, modular warfare, skins, guns, and this is where you drop your texture, DC15. Actually, I'm gonna make a copy on my desktop just in case, and you need to name it the same way. So Star Wars DC15. And now let's launch our game. Actually, let's not launch our game yet because there is one more step that I forgot about. Let's go into our main folder, to guns, and to render, because this is where we need another JSON file. So we're gonna steal one from the prototype pack again. Oh, wrong monitor. Come on. Alright. Back, and go into guns, render, and you're gonna need a corresponding render file to the gun you stole. So for example, for me it's gonna be prototype MP5 render. I'm gonna copy it over and rename it to my DC15. Oh, forgot to add the render part. That is also very important. Render. There we go. Open it in Notepad. And yeah, that's the thing you need to change as well. I forgot to do that. So it's gonna be Star Wars DC15 for me. For you, it's gonna be something different. Don't change all the numbers yet. This is what corresponds to your holding animation and reload animation. We just want to add our model first, so now we can launch our game. Alright, I've got my icon right here. It's a little hard to see on my dark desktop, but it is still here. I'm gonna open my content pack, go into assets again, Modular Warfare, but this time we're not going into skins, we're going into textures. There we go to items, guns, and this is where we drop our texture, naming it the same of course, Star Wars DC 15. And now when we launch our game, so now as you can see, it looks normally. Oh, dropped it. Yeah, it works. So that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching.